Well, before even checking, right? Looks like Apostle Dar went into the same thing. I mean, we're all seeing the same thing here, right? You know, that's symbolic that Babylon the Great has fallen, and Apostle Dar has done a video on it, and an excellent breakdown as well, and we're going to get into that, and just many other things befalling this place, right? We're watching the fall of our enemy. It's about time, because America, by definition, means bitter, by the way. It means bitter place, and this has been a very, very bitter place. This is the place of our captivity. It's also the city of confusion. Shalom, first and foremost, like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who are teaching this truth in sincerity. And shout out to Yakims out there in four corners of the earth to proclaim this truth. Raka the Yahweh, Raka the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, Bakatum. So you couldn't get any more symbolic than this. And Apostle Tahar went into it as well as I did yesterday.
And the rest of your elect out there, shalom to you all. I'm going to entitle this video Babylon is Falling. To be put up by JMS Inquirer Earl 2. You want a sign, this place is falling. Hashtag Babylon. Hashtag omen. Sign in a negative sense. So watch this and I'm going to go to the scripture. Shalom. Giving all praises and glory to our Heavenly Father Yahweh. Giving double honors to the men that are worthy of double honors, and them being our apostle. Anyway, I'll go back and play the rest of this video. Got into my mind.
And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. All nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her.
Is fallen. That great city is fallen. She has become the hideout of demons and evil spirits, a nest for filthy buzzards, and a den.
Chapter 18. After all this I saw another angel come down from heaven with great authority, and the earth grew bright with his splendor. He gave a mighty shout.
Babylon is fallen. That great city is fallen. She has become the hideout of demons and evil spirits, a nest for filthy buzzards, and a den for dreadful beasts. For all the nations have drunk the wine of her passionate immorality. The rulers of the world have committed adultery.
Shalom, giving all praises and glory to our Heavenly Father Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, giving double honors to the men that are worthy of double honors, that being our apostles and our elders of the truth. And behold, Isaiah 21 verse 9, and behold, there come a chariot of men with a couple of horsemen, and he answered and said, Babylon is falling, and all the graven images of her gods he hath broken unto the ground. All my threshing and the corn of the floor, that which I have heard, the Lord of hosts, the Most High of Israel, have I declared unto you. Oracles about Edom and Arabia. The burden of Duma, he calleth to me out of Seir. Watchmen, what of the night? Be the watchmen, what of the night? The watchman said, the morning cometh, and also the night. If ye will inquire ye, return come. The burden upon Arabia, the forest and Arabia shall be large, O ye travelers, companies of the Benim, which is Esau. Main thing I wanted, this right here. The exact phrases, Revelation 17:5, Babylon the Great, Revelation 18:2, Babylon the Great is fallen, become the habitation of devils. This is talking about Neo-Babylon. This is talking about Babylon the Great. Babylon the Great, Babylon the Great. Revelation 14:8, and there followed another angel saying, Babylon is falling, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. That's why the American flag went down. Revelation 16, verse 19, and the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell, and great Babylon came in remembrance before the Most High, to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. That's also in Jeremiah 49. We'll drink that cup. 18 and 10. I may open this up, standing far off, for the fear of torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for 1 hour is thy judgment come. I'll open this up. Revelation 18:21. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone, and cast it into the sea, saying, Thus with violence the missiles shall that great city Babylon be blown down, and shall be found no more at all. Let me open this up. Therefore shall her place come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord, God power, who judges her. And the kings of the earth, mainly China, who made money off of her, who have committed fornication and live deliciously with her, shall bewail her that became rich, and lament before her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. Standing afar off, for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her. For this is the reason, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. Let me try this. Let's hope this computer doesn't shut down on me. See where they're going to go with this. And the great millstone, GMS doctrine, Revelation 18, merchant of the ship, shall weep and mourn her, buy no merchandise anymore, is interpreted as a prophecy of the imminent economic collapse of the modern globalized capital system, which they view as modern Babylon. Here is how GMS breaks down the verse in its context. Who is Babylon? GMS teaches that Babylon is not a little ancient city, but rather a prophetic code representing modern Western society. They went off of that, specifically the United States and NATO countries. They view it as the modern capital of sin. Because Revelation 17, committed fornication, the nation committed fornication with the bedouin, with the U.S. idea. Repression and global dominance, the merchants lament. GMS interprets this, the weeping merchants as the world's elite bankers, CEOs, and capitalists referred to in China and manufacturers around the world, mainly China, and their teachings as the Edomite and elite class who mourn because their massive economic engine is suddenly wiped out by the Most High's judgment. That's true, but they're going to go into slavery too. Worship the money over the Most High. The passage illustrates the idolatry of global financial systems. In this global financial system, I lost my place. The merchants mourn because they are fixed on lost revenue. Because they don't give a shit about America. They just use America. They're using this bitch. And lost luxury rather than on repenting of their sins. The mark of the beast and slavery, I didn't know that this was going to be in here. 1 verses 12 and 13. Detail cargo that include slaves and human lives. That's how we got over here, which GMS uses to condemn both historical transatlantic slavery and modern systematic oppression, but he's still oppressed to this day. You got a Jake that makes $150,000, he's still oppressed. Such as the prison industry complex and human trafficking. There's more Jake in the prison system than any other nation. We're talking about the Latin tribes, Jake, violent destruction. This prophecy ties directly into Revelation 18, verse 21, which describes a mighty angel throwing a great millstone into we are the great millstone. We're going to crash this place with the bird. See, to represent the permanent and violent destruction of this economic empire. Ultimately, GMS uses this verse to warn the chosen, the 12 tribes of the scattered Israelites, to completely separate themselves from the wicked, wealth-obsessed Babylonian system before it faces sudden fiery annihilation at the return of the Messiah, Yahushua. How GMS connects Babylon specifically to the United States. Their view on the mark of the beast in relation to modern economics. Let's try this. Let's try this. We already know it's going to come up. Gotta think about it. I'm trying to go right to the point. Right here. The great millstone GMS doctrine, the mark of the beast, Revelation 13, 16, 17 is interpreted by not as a metaphor or spiritual state, but a literal physical object, RFID, microchip, and related biometric technology. They believe this technology is the ultimate weapon of the global financial elite, whom they identify as the Edomite ruling class, to establish complete economic control. The pivot to a cashless society. GMS teaches that the global elite are intentionally destabilizing the current fiat currency. That's why everything's going up. It's really not going up. The value of money's going down. That's what the American people don't understand. And you can thank your school system that didn't show you real economics, how money works. I know how money works. You don't. System forces transition to a completely cashless society. That's the reset, the trap. By eliminating physical cash, the ruling powers can control all buying and selling. The mechanism, physical microchips, or advanced digital biometric, bio meaning life, which is your body, metric meaning measure, which is the chip IDs, will serve as the sole entry point into this new economic grid. Physical implementation. GMS places heavy emphasis on the Greek word used in Revelation for Mark, charagma. This is why Nate can't get it, because he doesn't go into root words, which he doesn't understand the concept of he doesn't know the meaning of the word etymology, root words, the truth of words, the origins of words, which they interpret strictly as an engraving, imprint, or physical picture, not physical picture. The right hand, the forehead, they teach that microchips will be physically injected into the skin, matching the biblical location. Total surveillance, the hour of temptation. According to GMS, Revelation 3 verse 10, according to GMS, the rollout of the chip will lead to a period called the hour of temptation, or a time of temptation. The ultimatum, people will be forced. The truth, they're going to be deceived into it, between receiving the implementation or being entirely cut off from modern society. Some of you will be put to death. Economic lockout. Without the chip, you will not be able to buy food, pay rent, hold a job, or access money. You're going to be homeless. Now, I'm going to close it. I didn't want to go in this direction, but the Spirit led me in this direction. I just want to go on Babylon is falling apart, but it led me into the mark of the beast again. I didn't want to do this. Let me just do this real quick. Bear with me for a minute. Give me a second. Now I'm in. Okay, no, I'm sorry. This is what I want you to watch. Okay, this is a good one. Paper mache. What do you call it? Arch. Paper mache. I'm sorry, let me go here. Let me go to this content. I watched this video. What I did was, yeah, come on, man. Okay, videos. Look at this guy, Josh Siriton, I believe he's a chick. Come on, man. Let's go. Bear me for a minute, y'all. Let's hope this computer doesn't die on me. I think that was heat related. Okay, I think I found it. Okay, this caught my eye. I listened to some of it. I said I was going to make a copy. I'll make a MP4 and then convert it to MP3. So when I do my walk, I can listen to the whole thing. 39 minutes long. The Tyranny of Convenience. Full speech. Josh, Sir, he says it differently. It's pronounced different. Anarchapulco. That's a meeting place they get together. So you got to watch this video. And I'll listen to it a couple more times when I do my walk. And he doesn't mention the chip, but I believe he knows that the chip, that everybody's going to get the chip implanted in it. But the tyranny of convenience. You want to buy and sell, you got to be a part of the state. So he leads up to it. Very good. All the videos are good, but this one caught my eye. Like I said, I made a copy and I listened to it on my walk. And when I listen to it a handful of times before I get tired of listening to it. And this is Rumble. I believe he's back on YouTube. They took him off of YouTube. Like Canada's new internet kill switch, or to control the internet. Cancer cure, cover up. This right here, I'm not going to go further into it. Israel stop. These are the flocks you're drawing out. This one, you can watch this one because he shows you that this is a disaster. This America 250-year thing is a failure. That's 29 minutes long. Kiyosaki, that's this gentleman over here. He knows money. Ricketts, he knows money. I gotta watch this. Matter of fact, I will make a copy of this one, and I will also listen to this on my walk. But especially this one. Anyway, let me say shalom for shooting the computer. Shut down on me. Shalom on to next.
It's not like everything else, though. You know, we'd be doing live lessons all the time, and this is pretty much it from. Let me get it here. Give you a proper channel name. He has quite a few of them. So this is from one of them, Remnant Save, 144 BIA. He also has an Odyssey page and a Rumble account. So very easy to connect. I believe this is the brother from, I don't know if it's Cleveland Camp, but either way he has quite a few of them, you know. So just going to get into this, right? You know, because we're constantly doing live edifying lessons, so get into this.
That you sincere brethren and sisters who are coming back to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in these latter days, via the sacrifice made by his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Through his death, burial, and resurrection, the sins of the elect will be covered, right, so we can walk, you know, along this straight and narrow path. As we are under grace, we can walk this, you know, with a clear conscience. As we are keeping the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of our ability, we know that ultimately we have an advocate on high, who was working on our behalf. And ultimately, upon the return of Yahushua, we will be called to the secret chamber to complete the new covenant, where we will receive new bodies. And as the scriptures say in the book of Revelation, the 21st chapter, New Jerusalem will come down. Right? This is our hope. This is our faith. All right? We don't give a damn if it sounds crazy unto you. All right? Because what's really crazy is if you imagine this place continuing along with this, you know, wicked plan of a technocracy. You're the crazy one. All right? Super Bowl 300. And this madness continuing forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And all these strange, weird, you know, sacrifices that continuously take place. Brain
all
chips,
the faggot shit.
you know, AI, you know, governing the world. If you seek for this kingdom and this world to continue, then you're the weirdo. So our hope, and that ultimately the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, Hamashiach Yahushua, all right, the Mashiach Savior, all right, or Messiah, all right, is going to come and deliver his elect from these perils and change us. That is our hope. And New Jerusalem will come down from being perfected on the chariot to bring the heavenly government to the earth. That's why we say on earth as it is in heaven. The temple always represented the presence of the Most High on earth, where that's going to be fulfilled in his people, right, who are the true temple, starting with the elect, the 144,000 headed by the 12 disciples. At the head of that will be Peter, King David, all right, established by who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, and righteousness being set up throughout the four corners of the earth is the goal. All right, order being restored to the earth, as we are witnessing a rulership rooted in disorder be dismantled by the Most High God Yahweh via Yahushua, which is his word. All right, news and prophecy, where we link the things that are happening worldwide to the Holy Scriptures, so that the faithful elect, the remnant of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua, can know and understand that all of these things are a part of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua's plan, as the Scriptures say. All right, be sober, knowing what the will of the Lord is. Understanding what the will of the Lord is comforts us as we go through these dark and perilous times, as we see the Lord dismantling our enemy. And the prophecy of the end time is fixated here on Babylon the Great, the land of the north, where there's going to be a great deliverance that's going to surpass what happened in ancient Egypt, right, where the Lord sent an angel. Right? It was the Most High, Yahweh, who got the credit. But how did he do it? He did it by sending an angel. The same thing is going to happen here in this modern day Egypt, where he's going to gather his elect, not only from America, Babylon the Great, but also from the various different captivities where we've been scattered. As a matter of fact, Jeremiah, the 16th chapter, all right, and the 14th verse says this, all right, therefore behold, the days come, saith the Lord, and that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. Okay? And that's something we talk about until this very day. Right? Deontay Wilder said, to this day. Okay? But the Lord, Yahweh, liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north. So the great deliverance is centered around the deliverance from the land of the north. Right? And that's Babylon the Great. Babylon is not an ideology. All right? Although just like Rome, the concept of Rome, all right, spread throughout the world, the known world at that time. The concept of America does spread, throughout the world. People mimic this place. All right, it uproots order, it turns women and men and women into complete demons. This is why you have a lot of countries now, reneging on America content, Western content, Northwestern content, because we're on the Northwestern hemisphere. This is the land of the North. They're banning America's content from their platforms because it poisons the mind of the youth. Okay, so again, the Lord, we're no longer going to talk about the deliverance from ancient Egypt, but we're going to be celebrating the new Passover is going to be centered around the Lord living that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, right, and from all of the lands where he has driven them. See that? So you brothers and sisters, who are coming back to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, prepare for a great deliverance, but just know that that great deliverance, just like ancient Egypt, is going to be associated with plagues. Okay, and we can't be, when we see these things happening, we can't look back. We only have forward to look. We have nothing here. We have no continuing city. Right? Let's get that in the book of Hebrews, 13th chapter and the 14th verse. All right. Hebrews 13 and 14. For here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come. All right, and that takes faith. And a lot of our people are rooted in the now. They want to get a victory now. All right, and there is no victory now. Okay, yeah, you can tap into certain aspects of this world and get little speckles and moments of happiness, a little money. But in the grand scheme of things, your people are still downtrodden. The world is still toxic. All right, the culture of the world has nothing to do with righteousness. Righteousness is not being spread, so we're not happy. The true servants of Yahweh Shai are not happy until righteousness is spread throughout the four corners of the earth, as it says here, real quick in the book of Isaiah, the 26th chapter. Isaiah 26 and 9. I read it in the NLT. In the night, I search you. All right? In the night, I search for you. In the morning, I earnestly seek you. Right? We have no continuous city here, but we seek one to come. For only when you come to judge the earth will people learn righteousness. Okay? Let favor be shown to the wicked, which it has in the form of him being blessed with this beast system headed by Babylon the Great. Yet he will not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness he will deal unjustly, and will not behold the majesty of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. All right, so he's working wickedness everywhere, and in the land of uprightness, the promised land, where he has certain portions under his control. He's not working righteousness. He's seeking to set up more confusion, more rebellion. All right. Hebrews 13 and 14 in the NLT, for this world is not our permanent home. All right. We are looking forward to a home yet to come, the kingdom, wherein dwelleth righteousness. Okay. So that kingdom and that world, all right, comes at the fall of this world. All right. And as we are viewing, as the scriptures say in 2 Ezra, the 9th chapter, as we are measuring the times diligently, lining things up with prophecy, it can no longer be ignored that we're at the end of this age. Okay, remember, Esau represents the end of this age. Let's get it. Let's get it. 2 Ezra 9 in the GNT, or 6, 2 Ezra 6 and 9. Right? Esau represents the end of this age, and Jacob represents the beginning of the new age. Okay? Let's get another one here in 2 Ezra, the 13th chapter, around the, give me 1 second here, around the 25th verse. It says, this is the meaning of the vision. The man you saw coming up out of the sea, the waters, the heavens of Shemayim are the waters, represents the one whom the Most High has kept ready for many ages. He will come to free the world he created, the world of Israel, the elect, and establish a new order for those who survive. So a new order is coming to the earth. And if you're looking at this, this current decrepit situation that has been set up on earth by Esau, even in the heathen, and think that this is going to continue forever and ever and ever, then you're not in the right spirit. This is why our gospel is separated from any, other so-called black movement or movement of, the things that the tribes cry about, march about. This gospel is totally separate and holy when it comes to that, right? So tapping into some news and prophecy, as you can see, plagues are in the title of this news and prophecy. I don't yet come up with a name for it, but it's going to be centered around the mass amount of plagues that we're seeing in the fall of Esau's world. Okay, it's going out with a bang, man. Remember in ancient Egypt, the Lord sent Moses and Aaron, okay, to tell Pharaoh to let his people go. And he told them if they continuously rebelled, then ultimately these plagues will come. So they were used as the mouthpiece of the Most High, all right, to ultimately, speak plagues upon Egypt, man. And as this place, gets more and more rebellious and wicked,
Yep.
right? All of the
Faggot
guys,
shit.
you have a president in office who comes as a lamb in the form of, Christian nationalism. These presidents swearing on the Bible, but nothing but evil and wickedness goes forth of their policies. Righteousness will not be set up on the planet Earth under Esau's penal code system of judgment. Righteousness will not be flourished through these Edomites, period. Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter. And they're all bringing you, right, down the path, right, to set up a situation where all of the laws that dominate the earth won't be rooted in any of your rights, but it will be rooted in the elites wanting to microchip everybody and bring about their world order. Okay, so this place is getting more and more rebellious. As you see here, Nancy Pelosi praises gay pride marches, right, which laws and legislations are going to get passed very soon that you can't speak against these things. So while they're dangling, making America great again in your face in the form of, making America Christian again, and making America healthy again, it's all rooted in rebellion. You have one side saying this, the other side saying that, but in the grand scheme of things, they're all moving you towards total anarchy and chaos, man. Okay? And, let's see here. Yeah. These people are sick, man. Okay, we ain't even got to get into that. As a matter of fact, let's just get into this particular video here. Let's see. There's a lot of stuff happening. Yeah, Make America with Nancy Pelosi praises GAY pride marchers for making America more American as naked dancers perform for children. Okay.
We take great pride in San Francisco and the LGBTQ community.
Yep,
and
faggot shit.
in this year of the anniversary of our founding of our country, the community has made America more American with its mobilization and its speaking out for its rights.
We're estimating there's 1 million people in the city right now. How does it feel?
It feels very exciting. My first one was 1987, so I'm kind of used to this.
And she's an ugly cunt, by the
Keep it
way.
there. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
All right, showing you here it is. You got these Republicans in office, boasting and being anti all of this, but it's still going on. It's not going to stop. And the majority of these laws that are passed are bipartisan. They just push the notion of division in the media, but this ain't going to stop. This is why this place is going to go out like Sodom and Gomorrah did. And the Lord is showing day by day his displeasure with this place as it continues, man. This is off of Dabu 7, humiliating Freedom 250, Freedom 250. Stage roof panel falls and almost kills dancers. Trump rages over turnout. Nobody is showing up to this 250th year, all right, celebration of Babylon the Great, all right, which tomorrow is July the 4th, which marks that 250th, anniversary.
Obviously, we're
of
past
Babylon the
that
Great.
now.
And as we always show you, how long do
So much happened over the weekend, which is why I'm still looking at videos.
Okay, historical data shows that empires last on average about 250 to 300 years.
Yep.
All right, so America, boasted in its 250th year with this individual Trump, trying to resurge Edomite supremacy is very interesting. The pride of their heart have deceived them, but the Lord is humiliating this place. Check this out.
And they are lucky someone didn't get killed right here as the roof collapses on the stage.
We showed you a couple of weeks ago, this fool that, they tried to resurge or something. It was all kind of malts and water was, the American flag that they painted under the pool started to peel. This place, the Lord is showing day by day that he ain't happy with this place. And see, we, the elect, the men of the Lord, and those of us who believe, we take anything we can get to say the Lord is working. That's our faith. Something as small as seeing a number on the license plate. 144. It's 144. You know, we utilize everything we can to galvanize our minds to know we're at the end of this place, man. That's the only thing to think. Ain't nothing else to think. What else is there to talk about? But getting out of this prison planet.
Yep.
That has been set up by Esau. So just like ancient Egypt was plagued, right? This place is being plagued. As a matter of fact, before we get into that, let's
nobody showed up because people can't stand Trump, to be honest. They're beginning to really fucking hate him. And they're fucking tired of him. That's why they ain't showing up.
And then Yahweh said to Moses, get up early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh. Tell him this is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, what IUIC say we in Hebrews, says, let my people go so they can worship me. If you don't, I will send more plagues upon you and your officials and your people. All right? I will send more plagues on you and your officials and your people. Then you will know that there is no one like me in all the earth. So this is all getting ready to happen to bring praise and glory to the name of the Most High God, Yahweh, B'Hashem, Yahushua.
And they are lucky someone didn't get killed right here as the roof collapses on the stage for the Freedom 250 4th of July celebration. This is an absolute embarrassment. Complete humiliation. Trump is said to be fuming,
they fucking hate him.
ordering that pics like the one you see in the middle are removed from social media, showing that no one is coming to his little gathering. The Great American State Fair, as they call it, it is truly an embarrassment. The lack of people, the non-interest from the citizens of this country in this whole event is one thing. But then, as you just saw, the stage falling apart. Also, the statue that sits down here at the front, that some think is real or something, it's made of like plaster. It's falling apart, and they've been up there trying to caulk it together and keep the whole thing together. This is really showing what America is all about, right? Trump's faking the whole thing, and the whole thing's falling apart. No one believes in him. No one believes in this country. And this kind of shows it through and through. So he's supposed to give this big speech on the 4th of July. You can guarantee that when the cameras are rolling in, they're going to haul in busloads of people paid to be there. They're going to misguarantee it as he's giving the speech. He lied and turned around and said that this place was brimming. It was packed to the brim. It has never been packed to the brim. There's very few images out there showing more than a couple dozen people at best, as you can see right here and right.
The morale is going. As a matter of fact, let's get Isaiah the 19th chapter. Right? Yeah, this place is through. They got a Disney cartoon character by the name of Captain Durag.
Oh, and here's another thing, though, is that, you know, like the game Uno? Here's what I did on the 4th of July. I mean, obviously, I did a lesson in the morning, as I do usually, like I am now. And then I fucking took off to go visit my dog, Harley, who's being kept at my sister-in-law's house because the place I live at didn't allow him anymore. And that put a lot of hurt on me, but I've been keeping my relations with him, you know, at the other place, you know. So that's just it. My time and my money goes into this and spending time with my dogs, you know. And that's about it. I ain't got time for these goddamn Edomites. I ain't got time for any of this bullshit. And I want to stay away from these fucking people because the Most High will have his way. Lucille will have her way. And going to destroy America off the face of the planet. This place can be wiped off the face of the planet. And it's good to see our enemies fall. So I'm staying out of the Most High's way. You know what I mean? I'm not driving anywhere else except where I need to go. Yes, I have business to take care of. And that's it. And then I'm either at this place or I'm visiting my dog in Shasta Lake. You know, that's about it. You know, pretty much, you know, I keep very, very low.
Oh, man. I was just looking at that. I was going to do a quick video on it, but, you know, Captain Durag. Or Trump is the real Captain Durag, right? Captain Durag, man. What's going on here in America, man? Captain Durag is a controversial blackness. Oh, man. Look at this shit, dog. Oh, man. They really make...
Well, folks, it's about that time. Just one of my thoughts on Disney's newest superhero, Captain Durag. So let's get into it. Heard me correct?
Look how long the cape is. Yo. Woo.
His name is Captain Durag. I had to look up this episode just to make sure. I really went to a writer's room and said, let's put a black guy in a great purple suit. Not only that, let's...
Oh, man. When the Elder Bonsapad moved in with me back, In 2007, he was coming out, coming out of the world. He had a do-rag this long. It went all the way down his back. I didn't think they sold him no more Captain Do-Rag. You see, the real Captain Do-Rag, which they're doing this to mock you niggas, the real Captain Do-Rag is Donald Trump, Nero, and people were growing tired of his ass.
Yep.
Right?
Just what I said, right?
This is the book of Isaiah 19.
We're all saying it.
Captain freaking Do-Rag. Isaiah 19 and 2. The Lord says, I will stir up civil war. As a matter of fact, let's start in 1. Yahweh is coming to Egypt riding swiftly on a cloud. And he's going to do that by sending his son, Yahweh Shai. All right, and the angels are here. The chariots are showing up. Remember, the angels, dictate, and control the minds of the people on the planet Earth. Okay, the sun, the moon, the stars, the sun, all of the things happening in the heavens dictate the environment on the Earth. A lot of these storms, all of these things are dictated, by the heavens, the things happening in the heavens. The chariots are there working on the minds of the people. The Egyptian idols tremble before him. All these religions and philosophies are being trampled upon. And the people of Egypt will lose their courage. People of Egypt are losing their courage, man. They're through. They're unhappy. Okay? The Lord says, I will stir up civil war in Egypt and turn brother against brother and neighbor against neighbor. Rival cities will fight each other and rival kings will struggle for power. This is what's going to happen. Your senators are going to rebel against you. The governors are they're going to rebel against Trump. I am going to frustrate the plans of the Egyptians and will destroy their morale. All right, what is morale? All right, your morale is confidence, enthusiasm, discipline, right? Confidence, self-esteem, fervent spirit. This is why you see Esau, Edom, trying to tap back into that Edomite supremacist mindset. That's really what Trump represents. As a matter of fact, y'all saw this speech. I don't know if y'all saw this that he did. Let's see.
Hey, I have a sense of humor. May as well look at it.
Look who's behind them. Now, imagine running into these guys back in the day, or running into these guys on the dark road with a flat tire. Imagine it. What type of message do you think they're trying to set? Now the hat is white.
One of the most impactful things he ever did, ending up right here where we are. But his or decline, and neither should we. That's why we can't take this nonsense that's going on right now. We're not going to take it. The first public cause he ever supported was a bit.
And he's talking about, the Theodore Roosevelt's resilience. Now, there's the brother. He's not a believer, but this is, I'm going to play this. All right. Trump does speech with white supremacist props.
Supremacist soldiers in the background because Trump is a white supremacist. This piece of shit in his circle right here, that's Thomas Ryan result.
And we ain't mad at it. Let Esau, love yourself, be proud of yourself. We ain't mad about it. This is prophecy. All right, but it's hilarious to watch, man.
He's the leader of the white supremacist group called Patriot Front. Do y'all see anything similar with this leader of this white supremacy group and the white men standing behind Trump? They look exactly the same because they are the same. Those white men standing behind Trump are supposed to be a reenactment of white supremacist soldiers from 1898 called the Rough Riders. The white supremacist group Patriot Front are trying to be the new 2026 Rough Riders. White supremacist ex-president Theodore Roosevelt, who was a Republican by the way, put this white supremacist soldier group together. Theodore Roosevelt's racist ass called the black race the backwards race and the white race the forward race. Because Theodore Roosevelt was a white supremacist.
This is what their evolution is really rooted in, evolving past the monkey. And you niggas eat it up. Okay, because they package it as if, they're talking about evolving past your monkey ass. And that showcase evolution, true evolution, is these elites trying to evolve into gods via their technology.
Roosevelt wanted the white race to be the most superior, just like Trump and his administration. Theodore Roosevelt excluded black soldiers from being in the Rough Riders, even though later Roosevelt's white supremacist ass would end up begging the Buffalo Soldiers, who were all black soldiers, to save the Rough Riders in the American-Spanish War. Hey Google, who saved the Rough Riders when they were getting their ass kicked in the American-Spanish War?
The Buffalo Soldiers, who were African-American soldiers, saved the Rough Riders when they were pinned down during the Spanish-American War.
Israelites. Okay?
But after the war, after black men saved the Rough Riders, white men would take all the credit. They've been using black folks to make themselves look good for over 400 years now. If Trump was really trying to be an American patriot, he'd have some black soldiers up there too. But Trump is literally playing in our faces. He's literally telling us what he means when he says make America great again. Trump wants to go back to the times where white supremacy was the main focus in this country. This fool literally has white supremacy ideology right behind him for the whole world to see. This was purposely done because Trump wants to show how much he wants white supremacy to be the main focus in America.
Yeah, Esau's running out of heroes.
Yep. And like everything else, though, only those radicals, as you would say, really support Trump, right? Because a lot of people really do fucking hate his ass, but you've got these parrots, that watch Fox News and follow Trump wherever so he goeth, right? You know, and hey, man, you know, you got to laugh at this shit, right? Because he has failed them in every way possible. And one thing he's done is he's made America hated worldwide. America's the most hated country next to the Israeli state. That's a fact. Storm threat triggers chaotic evacuation ahead of Trump's speech. I mean, this is just the aftermath of everything, right? U.S. President Trump has taken the stage in D.C. to deliver his Freedom 250 address after a storm threat forced a chaotic evacuation of the National Mall and left many attendees unable to get back through security in time for his speech. Thousands gathered, which is a lie. Obviously, you saw what the turnout really was. Near the monument on Saturday for the salute to Babylon, celebrating the 250 years. The event was billed as the centerpiece of the country's so-called 4th of July Day, right? But it's a joke. But in this, it's going to make it look like there's a huge crowd. There really isn't. You know, these people were paid to go there. You see how, okay, that's not a very big crowd there. You can just see it, right? Look at how fucking empty that is. You know? Yeah, there's not a lot of people going there. They're just going to give you the illusion that it's that big. People really fucking hate his ass. And that's the sentiment. They have a fierce king and cruel lord over him. Now, this is actually happening. You know how he said he wanted a peaceful transition? You know, and it looks like it's happening. A takeover of Cuba. You know, a friendly takeover. I can negotiate. Castro's grandson says he's ready to discuss Cuba's future with President Trump. So, obviously, when Trump is making this declaration about himself and how he's going to take over Cuba, it's because he had already made a deal with them a long time ago. These people sold out Cuba years ago. Raul Rodriguez Castro, former Cuban president, Castro's grandson, and one of the most important figures inside Cuba's communist ruling circle, told USA Today in an exclusive interview that he is prepared to speak directly with President Trump, signaling a potential back channel opening. The Trump administration's intensifies economic pressure on Havana, which basically means to have a transitional government, kind of like the one in Syria. You know, just have America rule it, right? Because you can see Syria's always been a better place now. With Hayat al-Sham, al-Jilani, you know, puppet of both King Bibi and Donald Trump, you know. Although they're saying, no, we're not going to go after Hezbollah. Yeah, you got a really good hero there, right? Europe is the third world. You know, and Trump is just casting down his allies once again. The nations of Europe have been degraded to the status of a third world countries due to their failed policies, U.S. President Trump has said. You know, because like everything else, so, you know, of course they'll always say the word immigration, which is another key word of calling you a bunch of niggers and spics, and which is why you see nothing but white supremacists around him. The ideology just changed the words around a little bit, but the same thing, same sentiment. Europe is learning that what you take in third world criminals, you become a third world country. It happens quickly, in just a blink of an eye. And he's basically blaming, you know, so-called illegals, right? Because he's good at that, you know, which is another way of calling you niggers and spics and everything else, right? You know, he exalts himself, you know, above everyone else. Yeah, that's Esau to a T. No wonder why he's the king of it, right? And here we go. Oh boy, that illegal word again. Should have never happened. Illegal alien truck driver kills Pennsylvania trooper. See how he can throw the word illegal alien in front of everything, you know, and this make America white again speeches. Pennsylvania state trooper is the latest victim of the trucking industry's open borders experiment. Yep. Oh, because yeah, you got Biden-Harris regime with hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens. Yeah, it's always the illegal aliens. It ain't you goddamn Edomites. Now, it's always got to be an illegal alien, you know. But we know that the biggest people of the crimes are the Edomites themselves, you know. But they are going to blast it like that. Non-citizen truckers involved in deeply highway safety epidemic. They're going to spin the story, so we'll play a little bit of it. May as well.
This is an urgent wake-up call for every American. Our highways are no longer safe. Reckless immigration policies, combined with reduced commercial driver's
Listen to the
licensing
sound of
standards,
him.
have
He's
created
a member of the
highway
Ku Klux
safety
Klan, you can
epidemic
tell
on
that.
roadways. In recent months, we have witnessed horrific crashes time and time again. Crashes involving massive trucks weighing over 80,000 pounds plowing into the back of stalled traffic. These crashes involve catastrophic injuries and precious lives that were unnecessarily lost. The pattern in these crashes is undeniable. Too many of these tragedies involve non-citizen truck drivers.
Yeah, you got to throw that in there, right? You know, make it all white again. And like everything else, though, you know, he claims, oh, well, we just gave him a week off, right? You know, because, of course, Iran is in a spirit of mourning, right? You know, because they're mourning the loss, they're grieving the loss of Ayatollah Khamenei. However, though, they vow for revenge. You see, this is the days of vengeance, which means revenge, by the way. So, you know, all these nations, right now Iran leading, want to pay back Babylon double for what she had done to her, right? Give them a week off. Trump says U.S. paused operations for Khamenei funeral. Speaking about Rush Roar during celebrations marking the 250th anniversary of Babylon, Trump praised U.S. military power and declared Iran was seeking political settlement after months of conflict. Trump says, while boasting about U.S. sanctions against Venezuela and Iran, we beat Venezuela one day and we knocked the hell out of Iran, he said. Trump also claimed that D.C. allowed Tehran time to conduct funeral ceremonies for Khamenei. You know, like everything else, though, you know, that's what he claims. You know, that, oh, we just gave him the week off. Sure. Because you're also trying to cook the markets and trying to bring the economy back, you know, and give everybody the illusion that the economy is doing great. You know, just the same thing as all the other politicians did, right? You know, the economy was tanking in 2008, not as bad as it is now, but in 2008, Obama said the economy was doing great and it was tanking. Biden tried to do the same thing. Definitely Trump. They all lie. They all lie to you and tell you everything's going good. Brent crude prices could plunge to as low as $60 per barrel by the end of the year. Yeah, if there's no more further wars, but we know about the planned invasion, right? According to the latest note from Citi Commodity Research Team, which expects flows through the Strait to soon normalize in the U.S. and Iran to reach a deal in the coming months. Yeah, they're going to tell you that a deal's about to happen, you know, for the end of the war. We know about their surprise attack. While the U.S.-Iran process remains fragile and disputes over Hormuz administration and transit fees persist, we expect the MOU to hold and turn into a deal over the coming months, and its incentives to de-escalate outweigh the alternative for the U.S. and Iran. You know as well as I do that this is going to turn into World War III, because it already is World War III. But they're going to give you the illusion that everything's about to normalize. And I got a couple more here. Got more videos to look at. So, the rhetoric of, we just gave them the week off. Well, like everything else though, they want blood. And we're going to see that in these two RT videos.
Let's cross live to DD Geopolitics journalist Christopher Helali joining me right now from
Eye
Iran.
for an eye.
Christopher, I'm glad to have you join me now. So, you are now in the Iranian capital at the heart of the ongoing farewell ceremonies for the nation's deceased supreme leader. Now, the atmosphere is, of course, solemn. Right now, we can imagine and see what's going on. But what have the Iranians been saying? What is the main sentiment on ground there?
As you well know, the sentiment is one of profound passion and mourning and a sense of dignity of the Iranian people, a real sense of unity. You can see the images behind me. You can see the throngs of people. We're talking hundreds
now that's
of
the crowd that Trump didn't have on the
millions
floor.
more on the streets. And of course, they want revenge. You see the red flags behind me. They want revenge. They want revenge for the life of the supreme leader, for his family, and for the thousands of innocent civilians killed. And they want to have a strong country, a stable country, a resilient country, and they want their sovereignty. And that's a very important thing. That's a red line. They won't allow America or the Zionist regime, as they say, to dictate to them what government they can have and how they can live.
Now, meanwhile, exiled Iranian crown prince and opposition supporter Reza Pahlavi says that Iranians are in fact not grieving for their leader, but actually expressing their anger towards the current regime. What do you make
Boy,
of these
is that a
claims?
lie? Well, since the so-called crown prince has never been to Iran since 1979, he has no idea what he's talking about. You can clearly see behind me, everyone is chanting in unison, in solidarity with the resistance, in support of the government, in honor of the memory of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and of course in defense of Iran and the government. So it's clear that there is no chanting against the government, it's all pro-government. And that's another example of the propaganda and the misinformation, disinformation coming out from the Iranian diaspora.
Now, many foreign delegations have arrived in the Islamic Republic to pay their respects to the late Ayatollah, with the deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council, Dmitry Medvedev, visiting the Iranian capital as part of the Russian delegation. Now, how would you interpret these gestures?
It's very important. Russia and Iran have a long-lasting, centuries-old history together. And though it's been rocky at points and even openly hostile, now they find themselves very close, at the closest point they've ever been in history. So the presence of Dmitry Medvedev was very important. It was seen as an important moment of that unity between Russia and Iran. And I believe that in the coming years, we're going to see even a deeper relationship between Russia and Iran as they confront the same hostile Euro-Atlantic forces that seek to destroy their sovereignty, whether it's in the Donbass or whether it's in Iran. And I think that that's something that has been understood on both sides, in both countries.
Now, Washington says that Iran remains fully isolated from the international community, yet we have seen many foreign dignitaries visiting Tehran to pay their respects to the late Ayatollah Khamenei. What is your reaction to such statements coming from the United States?
Those statements are vacuous and without any meaning. They simply don't take into consideration the facts on the ground, which is that hundreds of delegations have come. Over 120 countries are represented here. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, the outpouring of support. And it's important to note that Ayatollah Ali Khamenei had very good relationships with Nelson Mandela and fought against apartheid in South Africa, with Fidel Castro, Cuba's late leader, with Kim Il-sung of DPR Korea, he had visited China. He had been on many other important visits and received dignitaries from all over the world. So we've seen people even close to the United States who have come to pay their respects, whether from Pakistan, whether from other Gulf countries, even the Saudis came. So it's very important to note that there is no isolation here. In fact, Iran has seen most of the global South come to support it.
So like everything else, Iran has a support and the U.S. does not. You know, and it's a slap in Trump's face because he was mad because people weren't showing up. Well, they're fucking tired of him. The people over here are tired of him. They won't mourn him. If he was to actually be killed, they would not mourn him. Say that an airstrike happened and it killed Trump, nobody would mourn him.
Before the Presidential Square in Tehran, where the funeral procession for Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei is underway in what is being described as the country's largest state funeral, as millions continue to take to the streets. Ayatollah Khamenei, who was assassinated on February 28th, the first day of the US-Israeli war on Iran, is today being honored while in a funeral procession together with a number of his family members who were killed on the same day by the United States and Israel. Well, the procession began early this morning at 600 a.m. Tehran local time under extensive traffic restrictions and trying to coordinate measures across the capital.
They're not going to forget who did this.
Tehran have been shot down to accommodate the scale of the event. Major boulevards, surrounding areas, and even the smaller side streets along the route have been closed to both cars and motorcycles, effectively transforming much of the city into a pedestrian-only space. While for many, simply reaching while the procession has required long journeys. People have been forced to park their vehicles kilometers away from the route, continuing on foot to join the crowds. Others have relied heavily on subways systems, using it to reach key points before merging into the flow of mourners. Mourners from different walks of life are also arriving from other cities across the country, adding to the scale of the gathering. Well, the route itself stretches more than 15 kilometers across the capital, begins at Imam Street in eastern Tehran, passing through Imam Square and then off Square in the city center, continuing along the route to also the square, in the west of Tehran, with the possibility of extending even further.
All right, sounds like something's interfering. Slovakia. So like everything else, though, you can see, though, that it's quite the opposite. You know, that there are a large amount of support, right? Calls for revenge echoed through Tehran at Ayatollah Khamenei's funeral. Hundreds of thousands joined Ayatollah Khamenei's funeral procession through Tehran amid calls for revenge, because they know who's responsible. That the U.S. and Israeli state are responsible for that. Hundreds of thousands of mourners filled the streets of Tehran. The procession followed 2 days of public mourning at Tehran's Imam Khamenei Mausoleum and marked the main event in 6 days of funeral ceremonies before Khamenei's body is taken to the holy city of Qom, then to Iraq's shrine cities of Najaf and Karbala before returning to Mashhad for burial. Iranian state media and funeral coverage would travel about 18 kilometers across the capital from Davan Street in eastern Tehran through Imam Hussein Square and Revolution Square to Azadi Square in the west. Authorities said the journey was expected to take around 12 hours. So, this was a huge event, and like everything else, though, it follows in Iraq as well. President Pezeshkian to attend martyr leader's funeral in Iraq, and that was yesterday. So, or actually, I think that's today. Yeah, today's the 6th. So, like, yeah, I mean, so many things going on at the same time. President Pezeshkian will travel to Iraq on Tuesday to attend the funeral ceremony for the martyr leader of the Islamic Revolution, Ayatollah Sayyid Khamenei. Okay, that is tomorrow. Yeah, I think. The visit comes as funeral ceremonies for the martyr leader and members of the family continue across Iran. So there's also a special funeral for him in Iraq. You know, so King Bibi pushing for an in-person meeting with Trump. Yeah, okay. Giving you the illusion that they're not getting along. They always get along. King Bibi's going to tell Donald Trump how it is. This is on the 5th of the lie. Israeli Prime Minister is hoping to meet with President Trump this week to discuss the war against Iran. If Trump accepts King Bibi's demands, it will scuttle any chance of a peace deal with Iran. The memorandum of understanding signed by Trump and his Iranian counterpart last call for ceasefire in Lebanon would require Israeli state to remove its troops. King Bibi continues to argue with Trump that doing so will endanger northern Israel. So, like everything else, so, you know, wants to change the rules and tell them how it is. You know, giving you this illusion that they're fighting. They're not. They're just planning for a much broader campaign against Iran. It didn't happen over the weekend because Trump says he gave them the week off. They're planning an attack probably next weekend. Maybe. We'll see. You know, they have to regroup, though. In order to coordinate such an attack, they have to regroup. You know, because there was a lot of stockpiles that were blown up. You know, and they didn't really stop all of Iran's retaliatory strikes. And Iraq retaliated too. You know, you have resistance groups in Iraq that also came into play. You have the Axis of Resistance. So it's a much broader war, and it's going to get bigger because Gog and Magog will enter the war very soon. Israeli state eyes return to Gaza war within months, Channel 12 reports. I didn't know that it ended. You know, yeah, they talk about the Gaza peace plan, but that never happened. Israeli broadcaster says the official expect border peace to rule. Hamas has breached the ceasefire, potentially. Oh, okay, clearing the way for new. Hamas broke the ceasefire. We got to go in. Got to go in all the way. So, nothing changes within 3 months. Melina would declare Hamas had breached the agreement, the source said. So, border peace chaired by President Trump was established in January under the initiative. Yeah, it's a joke. Everything about Trump and his peace plans are a joke. Israeli ceasefire violations, house demolitions continue amid Lebanon government inaction. You know, well, because the Lebanese government is complicit with the Israeli state. That's why Hezbollah is the only government that they really have, only military that they have anyway. Israeli state continues to violate the ceasefire agreement with Lebanon in light of Beirut's complete silence and inaction. Their complicity, you mean. Urging the government to take a firm stand against recurrent Israeli acts of aggression. Who's holding them to that? The actual real military, which is Hezbollah. Ever since the Lebanese government signed the so-called framework agreement with the Zionists, the criminal leaders of the regime have constantly made assertions that they have obtained legitimacy from the Lebanese government to stay put in southern Lebanon. So, like everything else, though, you know, they're still, they're not leaving. Iraq seeks stronger ties with Saudi Arabia, says the president. So, like everything else, though, they want stronger ties with Saudi Arabia. Now, Saudi Arabia, you know, is more on the Israeli side of things against Iran, but yet at the same time, you know, still wants to have relations because they're still BRICS members. Iraq's president said on Sunday that Iraq is seeking to build the strongest possible strategic relationship with Saudi Arabia across all sectors, stressing that limiting the possession of weapons to the state remains the government's top priority. He also said Iraq's security situation remains fragile, adding that Baghdad rejects the use of its territory to launch attacks against neighboring countries, mostly Iran. Last month, 3 armed factions announced their willingness to hand over their weapons. Saeed's also... Oh, okay, these are talking about the other brigades. Like everything else, though, you know, this is a much broader war. As you know, World War III, it's all in this Valley of Jehoshaphat, and you see that it's not dying down, it's getting bigger. Lebanon demands exclusion from Iran. U.S. deal amid non-stop Israeli attacks. Israeli state has not stopped bombing Iran or demolishing civilian infrastructure and has openly vowed to continue occupying the country. Israeli drone strike targeted southern towns Nabi al-Fawqa around noon on Tuesday, following a series of other violations of the ceasefire stipulated in the Iran-U.S. Memorandum of Understanding. So, like everything else, there's just continuing occupation, right? Israeli drones dropped multiple stun grenades and sound bombs on Nabaita al-Fawqa, while other drones buzzed across southern Lebanon at low altitude in violation of Lebanese airspace. Early on Monday, Israeli occupation forces carried out rigging and detonation operations in Kafar, Tebet, and Halal, destroying civilian homes. Israeli terrorists carried out 2 additional demolitions on Hadwatha while targeting the center of the town with heavy machine gun fire. So, like everything else, though, you know, they're just continuing. And then this is happening in Syria, because they are also taking land from Syria. But you got Hayat al-Sham that works with the Israeli state. It allows them to continue taking more territory. After the front lines, Palmyra's fight for cultural and economic revival. Yeah, they want to rebuild Syria. Syria's cultural icon was ravaged by a conflict. Tourism is key to its revival. Over the decade that followed, the city experienced successful periods of control by ISIS and the Assad government, while Russian military intervention further shaped the battlefield. Each left its own scars through violence, displacement, and destruction, transforming a landscape that has sustained its people for centuries. It took 30 days for the people of Palmyra to comprehend the brutality of ISIS, which is now the government. Palmyra is one of Syria's most important UNESCO heritage sites, is celebrated as a symbol of the cultural and religious diversity that once characterized the region, but it's now nothing but, well, you know, the Israelis had their way, and they got a transitional government, meaning that the old Syria is gone, and that pretty much modern Syria is Al-Qaeda running it. Modern Syria, Palmyra was not spared of savagery either. Homes and buildings were systematically destroyed during successive military campaigns and looted. Yep. And the Israelis made a lot of money out of stealing artifacts out of Palmyra. But like everything else, though, there's going to be a bigger player entering the battlefield very soon. So I'll get into some scriptures and close us out. So, like everything else, though, Babylon the Great and everybody else is going to be brought into this place, this Valley of Jehoshaphat, you know, and they're all going to fight there because that's where the Most High is stirring everything up. Joel chapter 3, verse 2, and it reads, I will gather all the Gentile nations that were hostile towards my people and bring them down to the Valley of Jehoshaphat, and deal with them there, and enter into judgment with them there. You know, and that is ultimately the Third World War. For the treatment of my people, my inheritance, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations, and because they have enroached on my land and divided it up. You know, that's talking about those gutter rats that are there now. You know, Palestine, etc. All those bastards that are dwelling in our land, you know, because it's not their land. But also for what they did when they sold us into the nations. They cast lots for my people and traded a boy for a prostitute and have sold a girl for wine that they may drink. You know, and that's exactly what happened. Because you have taken my silver, my gold, and have carried my precious treasures to your temples and palaces, and have sold children of Judah and children of Jerusalem to the Greeks, so that you may send them far away from their territory, which is what they did, transatlantic slave, behold, I am going to stir them up from the place where you have sold them, and return them to their land. And that's when Yahushua returns. And I shall return your action of retaliation on your own head. You know, so like everything else, retaliation, revenge. And I will sell your sons and daughters into the hands of the children of Judah, and they will sell them to the Sabians, to a distant nation. The Most High has spoken. You know, ultimately, Esau's going into slavery. And this is after World War III, but World War III, right here. Proclaim this among the pagan nations. Prepare a war, stir up the mighty men, let all the men of war come near, let them come up. Let the nations, this is verse 12, Be stirred to action and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there I will sit to judge and punish all the surrounding nations. And that's what's happening. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, is near in the valley of decision, where the judgment will be executed, ultimately by nuclear destruction. So, World War III, the third woe that cometh quickly, is right around the corner, as well as the collapse of the financial system. You see Babylon the Great has fallen, and it's been symbolic, and we've all been teaching on it. We were able to see it spiritually, with spiritual eyes, to see what happened when you saw all the events that took place on the 4th of July, showing you that Babylon has come up in judgment. And its ultimate judgment will be felt worldwide. So hopefully this has been edifying. For that I want to say, Bracha the Yahweh, Bracha the Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Brakakadosh, Wa Abal Babal. Brakatam, Jehovah Elect, Shalom.